You're watching Adam the Bull on the Bet Rivers Network.
Welcome, everyone, to the latest edition of the Bullpen with Adam the Bull, brought to you by Bet Rivers. It is day one of the illegal tampering period, which is so hilarious that we actually have a period in the NFL that's called illegal tampering. If it were actually illegal tampering, I guess it's legal tampering, right? It's not illegal tampering because then it would be illegal. It's legal tampering, which doesn't really make much sense either. Because if you're tampering, you would assume that would not be legal. But enough with that nonsense. Free agency is underway. And as of this recording of the podcast this afternoon, the Browns have not done anything yet. Obviously, over the weekend, we talked about the big blockbuster trade involving Jerry Jeudy for a 5th and 6th round pick. I've got some more thoughts on what else that could lead to with the Browns. Let's look at the rest of the division, though, since I was last with you. So far, not much. The Bengals have re-signed a couple of lower-tier players, their third-string backup tight end and third-string running back. Nothing significant there. The Ravens haven't done anything in free agency. The Steelers, last night, with the big move of the AFC North, since the Jerry Jeudy trade, and that's signing Russell Wilson. I think I hate to say it because I hate the Steelers, but I think it's a really smart move by the Steelers. There's zero risk because they're paying Russell Wilson virtually nothing. I think he's going to be a $5 million cap hit for the Steelers this season. The actual cash they're spending this year is like $1.5 million. So if for whatever reason it doesn't work out, no big deal with them. But Russell Wilson, even in the diminished player that he's been the last few years, is still a starting NFL quarterback. Whether he's number 15 or 18 or 20, I don't know. But he's a starting NFL quarterback. The Steelers last year made it to the playoffs without a legitimate starting NFL quarterback. Kenny Pickett, I'll tell you, I'm going to pat myself on the back here. Listen, you know me. I admit when I'm wrong. I've screwed up a lot over the years. I thought Brandon Weeden was going to be a good quarterback. I was way, way, way off on that. And we'll see how the Baker Mayfield situation turns out after he signed his big extension. Kudos to him. 3 years, 40. It was originally reported as 40 million, 50 million guaranteed. It's 40. So really, it's all the money this year and then some for next year. But they could get out of it after 1 year if they want. We shall see. But 3 guys that I said were not going to be any good at quarterback that were drafted very high. And so far, even though there's time for it to turn around, it looks like I am 100% right. I said Mac Jones wasn't any good. I said Zach Wilson wasn't any good. I said Kenny Pickett wasn't any good. And right now, I look 100% right that all 3 of those guys can't play. Now, as I said, I thought Brandon Weeden was going to be good. I thought Josh Rosen was going to be good. I blew it on those guys. But, you win some, you lose some, right? So the Russell Wilson signing, he's a perfect fit for the Steelers. You got to get back to what he was doing in Seattle, which is being a primarily running team, which is when he had his best success. That's what the Steelers do. That's what they're going to do with Russell Wilson. You have him throw it 20, 25 times a game. He doesn't really turn the ball over that much. I think it's a perfect fit. 2 good receivers. Their running game really took off the second half of last year. I didn't think, and there's one that I'll give Najee Harris. I didn't think Najee Harris was very good. And I thought the second half of last year, once he got pushed by Jaylen Warren, when it looked like Jaylen Warren was going to take his job, all of a sudden, Najee Harris played really, really well. And so that was so the Steelers running game looking really good. Breaking news. Let me just confirm that this is legit. As we're doing the podcast, there's Jordan Schultz reporting it. Kirk Cousins. Hold on. And now it's been confirmed. Okay. Kirk Cousins, as we're recording this, breaking news, has agreed to a 4-year deal with the Atlanta Falcons. Wow. Now, what the money he gets, who knows? But I love this from Atlanta. I am a Kirk Cousins guy. I've always been a Kirk Cousins guy. I think he's a really good quarterback. Yes, he's still got a lot to prove in the playoffs. He has not done well in the playoffs. But this guy has been a really good quarterback, and Atlanta can't do better. And when you look at the fact that the Falcons have had the worst quarterback situation now for years, since Matt Ryan And since Matt Ryan started going down the tubes, so it's been, I don't know, 3-4 years at this point since he started going down the tubes. I guess it hasn't been that long. But you look at all the talent that they've accumulated in the last few years. They've got they got a great back in Bijan Robinson. And they've got a really nice receiver in Drake London. We know the Kyle Pitts situation at tight end. He's been underutilized there. So they got a new coach, and now they got a legitimate starting quarterback in Kirk Cousins, who's a top 10 NFL quarterback. So a 4-year deal for Kirk Cousins is now being reported by everybody out there. We'll have to wait some time on the money, but a 4-year deal for Kirk Cousins. Other big moves today, I think, or big things today. The running back market has been fascinating. In the past few years, running backs have gotten no money, and they have had to wait. There's not been a lot of running back signing early in free agency. Well, already three running backs have signed. DeAndre Swift, that's one. He goes to Chicago. You had, who am I forgetting now? DeAndre Swift. Oh, Tony Pollard. And now Josh Jacobs is signed with Green Bay. That was a shocker to me. I was really surprised to see Josh Jacobs. No, Josh. Why does that sound wrong to me? It is Josh Jacobs, right? Yeah, it's Josh Jacobs. You know why it sounded wrong to me? Because I was all of a sudden in my head, Brandon Jacobs popped up, the former Giants running back, and I was like, it's not Brandon Jacobs, it's Josh Jacobs, and it is Josh Jacobs. And he is signed with the Packers, which was totally shocking. I didn't see that one coming at all. But they signed him, and Tony Pollard goes to the Titans. So Pollard gets 3 years, $24 million. And I'll be curious to see after Pollard and Swift both got 3 for 24. I would think Jacobs would get more than that, probably $10 million a year. I'll be curious to see what Derrick Henry gets, and of course Saquon Barkley, the big prize, who supposedly is talking with the Eagles. That'd have to be painful for Giants fans, even though he hasn't been that great since his rookie year. Still, you don't like to see that. Eagles spent big on Bryce Huff, a veteran defensive lineman. So there's been a significant amount of moves, and things have really been picking up. The biggest deal, Huff got $57 million. There's been a bunch of offensive linemen who have signed today. The Jacobs one was interesting because the Packers spend less money than any other team in free agency. For them to spend that kind of money on a running back was surprising. Jonathan Grenard signed a 3-year, $70-something million deal with the Vikings. The biggest deal, though, defensive tackle Christian Wilkins. And there had been some rumblings that the Browns would be interested. He signed a deal. I can't remember the years. I want to say it's 4 years for over $110 million with about 85 guaranteed. So he got about 80% of his contract guaranteed, which is a lot for a defensive lineman. So those are the big moves of the day. Darnell Savage signed with the Jaguars. So did Gabe Davis. And Gabe Davis got, I think, $13 million a year guaranteed. That's a lot of money for an underwhelming wide receiver. So now, it'll be on the quarterback front, I'll be interested to see what happens with Justin Fields. Because there had been some rumors that Justin Fields would end up in Atlanta. I'm sure they're not going to trade him to the Vikings. That probably doesn't make any sense. But the Vikings need a quarterback. The Raiders need a quarterback. The Broncos need a quarterback. The Giants, they'll probably go in the draft. But some of these other teams will be interesting, like the Raiders and Broncos. They don't have high draft picks. Neither does Minnesota, and they all need quarterbacks. None of the guys on those teams are any good. Minnesota's got nothing. Same with the Raiders, and same with the Denver. New England, they got no quarterback. That's 4 teams that are not. New England's picking high, so they'll get one in the draft. But the other 3 teams are not picking high. As for the Browns, as we said, as of this recording, and if something breaks, obviously, like with the Kirk Cousins news, I'll share it with you. But as of this moment, the Browns have done nothing today. Don't have that lead you to believe they won't do anything. Obviously, they made their first big move over the weekend with the trade for Jerry Jeudy. And I was thinking about the Jerry Jeudy trade since I did the podcast on Saturday and did the UCSS today, and I didn't get a chance to bring this up on either time, but I thought more about this, and I was like, the Browns, in my opinion, blew it on Elijah Moore, right? I don't, and he's fine if you want to keep him as your third receiver, but it feels like to me, you make this trade for Jerry Jeudy, you're all in on this year, right? You've gone all in. The Browns have consistently the last few years made a ton of all-in moves. So why not go further? Elijah Moore is no dead money. You could cut him. You could maybe trade him for a late pick. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what anybody would give you. But let's say you get a 6th-round pick for him or a 7th-round pick. If I'm the Browns, and I know you don't have to get a slot receiver, and the money is high, right? The running back money, I thought it would be depressed. It's high. Good backs and Pollard and Swift, not great backs, good backs, decent backs, getting $8 million is interesting. All the money's up. Gabe Davis getting $13 million up. It's crazy. But if I were the Browns, I would seriously consider moving on from Elijah Moore and replacing him with a veteran that's more reliable. And one name that comes to mind is longtime AFC North wide receiver Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd's been a really good player for the Bengals for a number of years. The Bengals drafted his replacement last year. They are moving on. And I would think Tyler Boyd, because of his age, he's not a top receiver, but he's a good slot receiver. And I think, and again, I know Jeudy could play the slot, but he's not in there all the time. I think Tyler Boyd would, if you move on from Elijah Moore, you bring in Tyler Boyd as your third wide receiver. He's a great third wide receiver. Probably pay him, I don't know, maybe 2 years, 10, something like that. And then you have the young guys, Tillman and Bell, as your 4th and 5th guys. That's what I would do. My sense is they won't move on from Elijah Moore because they gave up, they traded up from the 3rd round, or they traded down from the 2nd round to the 3rd round to get him last year. And he wasn't terrible. So I don't think they're ready to get rid of him. I think that's what I would do, but the Browns probably won't do it. I just wanted to throw that out there. There's been a lot of rumors that the Browns are Albert Breer earlier today tweeted out that the Browns are very aggressively going after a defensive tackle. Now, I don't know if they were in on the Christian Wilkins thing. Obviously, you got a huge. It was a 5-year deal. I said I thought it was a 4-year deal. It was a 5-year deal for Christian Wilkins, $110 million with about $85 million guaranteed. So maybe that was too rich for the Browns' blood. $21 million per year. So I don't know, but another guy, speaking of former Bengals, that could be good fits for the Browns. We had talked a lot, a month ago about T. Higgins, but now I'm talking about Tyler Boyd. And what about DJ Reader? DJ Reader has been a great run stuffer for the Bengals. I know Christian Wilkins is more of a pass rushing D tackle, and maybe that's what the Browns are looking for. But if you pair DJ Reader up with Tomlinson, that would be a pretty serious middle of that defensive line. DJ Reader coming off an injury at the end of last year, so he's older. I don't know what the contract's going to be. It's certainly not going to be anywhere close to Wilkins, and maybe it's going to be higher than I think. But that could be an interesting thing for the Browns to look at. All right, if there is more breaking news as we go on Monday, I will either add to this podcast or come back later and do another one. I'm keeping you up to date with everything that's going on in the NFL. That's the big happenings right now. That's the latest on the Browns. I still think they're targeting D-line. To me, an end is more important than a tackle. Linebacker, the fact that Taki and Anthony Walker are free agents right now, they're going to have to do something there. What they do about the number 2 tight end will be interesting. And, of course, the backup quarterback situation. I just saw Mary Kay tweet something about that. What did she say? She said, where are you, Mary Kay? Why can't I find you here? Mary Kay on the quarterbacks. Other free agent, let's see. This was responding to the Kirk Cousins signing. She says other free agent quarterbacks will agree elsewhere soon. Browns keeping an eye on Jacoby Brissett. If he signs with the Patriots, Joe Flacco probably comes back to Cleveland to back up Deshaun Watson. Wow. I still will believe that when I see it. But that's what Mary Kay's saying right now. She thinks there's a decent chance that that it's either going to be Jacoby Brissett coming back or Joe Flacco coming back to the Browns as the backup quarterback. Time will tell. Lots going to happen over the next few days. By the way, this also just kind of breaking. The Browns season ticket prices going up. I know they finally won, Browns, let's see. Team currently has they have more than 8,000 on a wait list. Browns fans may purchase season tickets from a variety of accessible price points, starting as low as $65. It's a $5 increase from last year. Nearly 85% of club-level seats, just about 40% of the lower bowl, are increasing no more than $20 a game. I don't care about that. It's the upper bowl. That's where the people that can't afford to go to games easily, approximately 60% of the upper bowl is going up by no more than $5 per game. And another 20% no more by 10. That stinks. Entire mezzanine deck level will also change by no more than $20 per game. It's a lot, though. They say no more than 20. Like, that's not a lot of money. If you buy season tickets, that's that's $60 a ticket. You got to stay affordable for the fans of Cleveland. But teams just don't care about that stuff. I get it. They make every last dollar. All right, thanks to Brian Monzo for producing. I'll talk to you either later today or tomorrow. We're locked and loaded all week, doing all kinds of free agency stuff, trade stuff. Anything breaks with the Browns, I'll be on it. Where else but right here in the bullpen with Adam the Bull, brought to you by Bet Rivers. See ya.